Thank you for coming and talking to us. We're very excited about Voltron.
Awesome. We are also very excited.
Yeah, we're excited to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, when it came to having your part in this, what was the? Were there any challenges there with your role in bringing this back to life?
I mean, for sure, it's a beloved property to many people. So, the challenge is always going to be like, A, we need to make a new show that brings in a new audience, but B, we need to please, we feel a responsibility to please the fans of the original, because as fans of the original ourselves, we would want people to do that for us. We'd hate to see a beloved childhood property be taken and just kind of
We've seen that too many times, actually.
Yeah. So,
Oh, don't say it. I haven't seen it yet. Come on. No.
But yeah, so just trying to update, because if we were just allowed to, we probably would have just remade the old show.
Yeah.
But obviously we can't. We need to update it a little bit. But our hearts are really they're in the old show. So we needed to update it, but still keep it true, keep it something that we were happy with, that we wanted to work on.
Yeah. And the show, it's a show about 5 robot lions that form a big robot that fight other big robots and monsters, and on a TV budget, this is the first time we've been at the head of a production and really had to be mindful about budgets and things like that. So that's a challenge too, is making sure that sort of we can wrangle this giant epic storyline into a show. That's on sort of a technical level, that's sort of what we struggle with on a day-to-day.
Is Netflix about bringing this or ushering in this new era of making sort of American-oriented animes for a new audience? How invested in this? Because I've read countless articles where they're very serious about bringing animators of the Night Sister and now they have Voltron,
Yeah.
they have Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
So how serious are they at the
I don't know that I can speak on behalf of how passionate Netflix is as a company. I will say that they've basically allowed us, and DreamWorks sort of free reign to create the show that we wanted to create. As far as, sort of Americanized anime, honestly, I don't know that, for me, it's a tough delineation, because it's that art form is just part of the way we are as artists. So even if I were to say, hey, I want to make a cartoon, it's probably going to have some element of anime in it, because that's just who we are.
It's what we've been influenced by.
It's what we've been influenced by, amongst other things. I'm not saying that's the only thing that we're influenced by, but there will absolutely be some element of that. So I don't know that it's, for us, it's not we didn't say, hey, we want to make an anime. We just wanted to make a cool show, and our influences
We just
are.
happen to have that sort of sensibility.
Yeah.
So fans who are either new to it or vaguely remember nothing one, how would you sum it up for new people seeing it for the first time?
Well,
Yeah.
Our show is basically, it's about these 5 young kids who end up kind of falling into this story and finding this lion, and then they get wrapped up on this huge space journey. And kind of tangled up in a war that they weren't really a part of, but it's a cause that they need to be a part of, because it's such an important thing. There are evil aliens that are just dominating the galaxy, and even though Earth hasn't been affected yet, it will be.
It eventually will be.
So they kind of just take up the reins, and they have to reform this ancient warrior Voltron, which is not an easy thing to do. We've tried to kind of update it so that lions aren't just something you can get a key and get in like a car. It's there's a much deeper connection that these pilots need to make with their lions, and it kind of solidifies them as the only pilots that can really do the job, and so therefore they have to dedicate themselves to it.
So from your standpoint, what was with your position, what was the most difficult part of, making this in a way that, fans old will like it, but new fans will want to watch it?
It's just navigating those waters of every choice you make comes with the, will this make, like, who is this making happy? Is this making the kids happy? Is this making the fans happy? Does it make them both happy? And you can't always get everything with every choice, so we just kind of have to make the choices that we feel are best for the show.
Yeah, I think you can't just worry about that all the time when you're making your decisions. What you can trust in is the fact that we were both genuine fans, and that we just have to go with our gut sometimes as to what feels right, because we know as fans what we'd want to see. And even if stuff diverts from the original, man, this guy just came in super crazy. If stuff diverts from the original series, we just need to make sure that it feels right. And as a fan, that it's not something that's like, oh, that would never happen, or those characters would never do that. So it's really just going with your gut a lot of the time. Yeah.
So do you guys have a lot of autonomy over the show, or did you guys get feedback, or did they say, here's some money, we want you to make it, do what you want?
Oh, we wish.
We wish.
Well, we've been working in animation long enough that, we've worked at many different studios and, married many different ways. And part of working in animation is that it's a team sport. Like, it's rarely going to be just one person's vision all the way through. A lot of people have to contribute to make this thing. And, we're working with a lot of different partners. There's us, there's what we want to do, there's what DreamWorks needs from us, there's what, franchise and other things. Like, there's just a lot of different opinions that go into the show, and we just try to take all of those opinions and all of those notes and still, work those things in a way that it's still a show that we're proud of.
Yeah.
Like, we don't just take a note and be like, well, they wanted it, there it is.
Yeah.
It's like, we have to take everything and really mull it over and just make sure that, we're not compromising the quality of the show. And they rarely ask us to do anything like that, so.
Yeah, and it's tough because coming from Korra, it was the one instance where Nickelodeon was just basically asked the creators, hey, do you want to make a show? And they said, we want to make a show about a girl who has these powers, it's the reincarnation of the Avatar, and they basically just got to make the exact show they wanted, and we got to be along for that ride. And with a show like Voltron that obviously has a bigger sort of marketing scene, there was never any toys or any marketing plan for Korra. It was just make this show and just tell the story you want to tell. With Voltron, it's a very different thing, so we sort of had to put on our producer hats in a way and really sort of learn to navigate those different avenues. Deal with, a toy company who's involved, deal with people who have a bigger marketing sort of plan, and then still, like Lauren was saying, take all those notes and all those opinions and sort of maneuver them into something that we know feels right as fans for the show.
We're not privy to the Legend of Korra.
Yeah, sorry.
This is kind of a silly question. Do you ever think it would have the impact that it has had on its fans? Initially going into the project, now it's so huge, and it's really, it seems like it's changed lives.
Yeah.
Did you ever foresee that with this show?
I can say I saw a little bit of it because I was lucky to come in we were both lucky to come in midway through on Avatar: Last Airbender, and it was the first time we'd been involved with a show where entire families would watch that show together. And so we got a little taste of it on Avatar, and we knew we were going to be doing some progressive stuff on Korra. But you never really truly anticipate how it's going to affect people. Our line producer that has worked with us, he was on Korra, and now he's on our show with Voltron. He had ran into a female artist and said if she had Korra when she was younger, she wouldn't have gone through a lot of the hardships that she did, dealing with being gay, dealing with all these things that I think Korra helped facilitate, being comfortable with. So hearing that kind of stuff is really powerful. You can't really count on those sort of things.
But one thing we definitely knew, working on Korra, was that, working with Mike and Brian, you're always going to get, a very distinct vision, and there's always going to be quality, because those guys, they care so much about what they do. So, when I came onto Korra later than Joaquim was involved from close to the beginning. But when I came on, there was no doubt in my mind that it was going to be something good. I didn't know how far it would go, but I knew it was something that I wanted to be involved in because there was no way it could be bad.
Did you find yourself shocked toward the end, the way the show ended up? Did you find yourself shocked at the direction that it went in by the end of the show?
No. Not really.
That's amazing.
I mean, yeah, Mike and Brian, that's the funny thing is, like, I've worked in a lot of action adventure, and, you know, one of my biggest gripes is, you know, the, I guess, female representation. How they're represented, how much they're represented, and one thing that Mike and Brian have always done is, like, that's the only show I've ever worked on that had, like, middle-aged women. Like, it had a large amount of middle-aged women in the cast in an animated show.
Who were the heroes?
Yeah,
who
and they were
doing
awesome.
amazing.
They were kicking butt.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they always took chances and they just did what they cared about and they just told the best story. And so, you know, and they cared about representing more than what was the norm.
Yeah.
You know, they made a show that was basically set, you know, in just entirely, like, different Asian cultures.
It broke. Like, as far as like working on a show that, you know, needs to sell toys or needs to play to this audience, they broke every rule, every single rule. And for us to be a part of it, I mean, we knew we were definitely part of something special. But definitely hearing those stories, it opens up your eyes a bit further and makes you realize, oh, you know, it's really affecting some people. It's cool.
So what is the one thing you'd really want kids to get from this show? Like watching, what would one message you want them to get?
I guess, like, one thing that we've been trying to get across is that, you know, even though, you know, Voltron is made up of 5 different parts, and even though everyone kind of wants to be the head, like, it's really about teamwork, and it's about, like, I want everyone to kind of have, like, a different favorite line. Like, I remember, you know, being young, and many times you just have the show and, like, there's the very clear hero guy and here's the very clear, like, the rest of them are just kind of supporting characters. And we really wanted to make each of our characters really unique and special on their own so that each of them could be someone's favorite. And it's not just everyone's kind of funneled towards, like, the hero, everyone wants to be the head.
Right.
So, I mean, for me, that, like, I would really just like if I could see, you know, people cosplaying and buying the toys of every paladin, then, like, I'll be really happy.
And we were lucky enough, you know, it can be a burden and it can be a sort of benefit to do stuff like kids testing when you're trying to, like, get the show out there. We were so overjoyed to find out that there wasn't one character that anybody really, it was just sort of equally dispersed. Everybody sort of wanted to be every character, you know, and everybody gravitated to the one that they related to the best. So really fleshing out those characters further than just being sort of the generic hero guy or girl, and making him something that everybody can relate to. That was really exciting for us.
What's your favorite anime?
For me,
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, it was Robotech. I loved Robotech.
I'm sorry, I read about anime, so I just asked.
Yeah, Robotech, Battle of the Planets. I mean, Voltron was up there. It's just Voltron wasn't around as long as some of those other shows. It just sort of, I don't know, seemed to kind of come and go. But Voltron was one of those pillars. As I got older, I mean, if I got to go number 1 of all time, Cowboy Bebop.
Nice.
Yep. It's pretty much the same. Robotech, Cowboy Bebop. I'm a big fan of Ghost in the Shell
Ghost in the
Standalone
Shell
Complex.
Standalone Complex.
Those are
Yeah.
kind of like the 3 big ones. And Sailor Moon. I'm a huge Sailor Moon. Him, not so much. That's where we differ.
Yeah. I can appreciate how funny it is. Although I'll tell you what, I just started watching Yokai Watch. That show is
Not only
crazy.
is it cute, but it's really
It's like smart.
charming.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's
fun
very
and
charming.
charming. Yeah.
it's a great.
Yeah.
We were really enjoying that.
Have you watched any of the other Netflix shows? Like,
I did watch Knights of
Watch
Sidonia, and I
Knights of
enjoyed it
Sidonia.
quite a bit. Like, it's funny because, you know, we need to market to a younger audience, so we need to, like, make sure, like, our content is entertaining all the way through. But, like, I remember us just watching the episode where, like, I can't remember any of the names, but, like, the main guy and, like, the girl that he likes at the time are stranded in their like mech out in the middle of space,
Yeah.
and they're just floating there.
Such a simple
and they're,
story.
It's so like calm and quiet, and they're just waiting, either waiting to die or hoping they get rescued.
Yeah.
And it was a really awesome episode. I'm like, we'll never be able to make that episode.
That's one of
But it's
those stories
awesome.
that you hope you can make like down the line once you saved up enough sort of
Yeah.
credits with the
Yeah.
toy guys and with all those different departments. You're like, all right, now we want to tell this really quiet story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. Although Sidonia, it got weird at times.
It got
was
a
like
little weird, but I was able to appreciate it overall.
Yeah,
I
for
watched
sure.
the second season and it got like Three's Company. It just got like kind of crazy comedy. I was like,
Anime scale, it just sort of goes
Yeah.
from one spectrum to the next.
But you do appreciate, I mean, from a completely production-related standpoint, we were watching that show and we realized how smart they were being with a lot of their design work,
Yeah.
being able to reuse a lot of elements. You know, I mean, that's
CG costs them a ton, and so the fact that they have like all their students in the same outfit,
same outfit,
they can just
yeah.
recycle that model, and like, and all these girls look the same, and like it was really intelligent. Like they picked the right show to make like,
Yeah,
a
for
CG
sure.
show out of, because gosh, either you're stuck with like the 5 models you can build for that show, or you just got a bad show.
Yeah.
What character qualities do you guys really identify with on the show? Or do you guys identify with
Well,
I mean, yeah, go.
I mean, there's the one that I like. I wish I was, and then there's the one that like I really am. It's like I really like the Pidge character. It's like the perfect combination of like bravery and intelligence, and it's like everything I would want to be, but I'm none of it. And like I'm really just more like Hunk, being scared of everything, and then like Keith being kind of like the quiet guy that like just is off on his own. But but really, like, there's a little bit. I mean, there's even stuff in Lance, like a lot of his goofballisms and some of his like competitiveness and his self-consciousness that like that's definitely like something that I identify with. So it's like there's something in everyone that like.
Yeah.
You guys seem to be such a good team.
I mean, I think that's part of the deal. You know,
Yeah.
I think one, the cast works together really well, and two, our crew, having worked for so many years with each other, we all just get along so well.
Is there an
no
exact
drama.
day in June yet, or just June 2016?
I don't think we've announced the exact day yet. We don't even know the exact day.